Hey, this is Thursday, June the 2nd. Today we're reading 1 Kings chapter 3, 2 Chronicles chapter 1, Psalm 42, and Romans chapter 8. Continue our journey through the Bible. We are in full swing here. It is now early June, and we just keep trucking along into the summertime here. I hope God is going to reveal critical things about His kingdom to you over the summer months. It's going to be so good. In 1 Kings chapter 3, as we read, we're now interacting with a new king of Israel. His name is Solomon, going to be the leader of God's people. And God shows up to Solomon in a vision or in a dream. And he says, Solomon, ask me, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but ask me for whatever you want and I'll give it to you. And Solomon thinks for a minute, and Solomon asks for wisdom, for discernment, for a discerning spirit, so he would know right from wrong, how to lead well, how to discern good and bad, and to show the people the right way. And God says, well, because you didn't ask for a long life, for riches, for all that, I will give you everything then. And he becomes an incredibly rich king, wealthy, powerful, and wise king. Not perfect by any means, not perfect by any means. He later on would write a couple books of the Bible. There's Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, a couple of things he wrote later on. Proverbs, a lot of wisdom came out of Solomon. But in 1 Kings chapter 3, in this moment that God asks him, tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. Solomon, now as a young man, says, give me wisdom or give me discernment. And he receives it. He returns to Jerusalem then and continues being a king. And then right after that is really kind of a weird little passage that follows it up. You remember the Bible's full of weird passages. A weird little passage comes right next to this. The heading in this NIV Bible I have is one of these blue Bibles that we use in our auditorium all the time for church services. It says a wise ruling on the heading. See, Solomon had two ladies come to him, and they both had babies, and one of the babies had died, and the other one had taken a baby, and they were arguing about whose baby was alive and whose baby was dead, and they came in, and they came before the king with all of their drama and all of the results of their brokenness, because drama and hurt, it's always a result of brokenness, always is. And they come in with their brokenness and with their hurt before the king, and they start to lay this drama out. And now Solomon could easily have been sucked into the drama. He could easily have been pulled right here in 1 Kings 3 into the argument and into all these things, but Solomon's not. He takes a bold approach, mind you, bolder maybe than I would have been, but he says, bring me a sword. I'll cut the baby in two. I'll give half to that mom and half to that mom, and then y'all get part of the baby. And obviously, the mom of the baby who was alive does not want her baby to be cut in half, and so she says, no, give the baby to the other mom. She's willing to sacrifice, to surrender, to spare her baby's life. And Solomon discerns who the real mother is, the correct mother. It's always been an amazing and kind of weird little passage. Solomon says, cut the baby in two. And you think, why would he do that? Why would he not instead do what I would be tempted to do and you would be tempted to do, and to listen to all the sides and to all the arguments, and maybe pull one mom off in a room by herself and talk to her and get her side of the story, and then the other mom off by herself and get her side of the story, and then come back together? And why would he do it the way he did instead? There's something I do with my kids all the time. When I have my two little kids, especially ages 6 and 9, when they get into a dispute or a little bit of drama, it comes out of their brokenness and the trauma of their past, and they come into this moment and they start arguing about something. They always are on diametrically opposed viewpoints. They never agree on anything, and the truth is somewhere in the middle, always. And I could get drawn to the drama with them, but I don't. I just kind of lay it out together, and I let both worlds collide. I let all the worlds collide, and eventually things kind of flesh out. Solomon does that here. He lets things collide. Here's the result now of his ruling, of his way he handles this. The result is, at the very end of 1 Kings chapter 3, when all Israel heard the verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe, because they saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. Here's the point I want to make to you. Solomon did not get drawn into drama. He led and spoke and thought with wisdom. And because he did, the broken world around him held him in awe because of the wisdom they saw in him from God. I'm wondering, how often do you get pulled into drama versus how often do you lead, think, and act with the wisdom from God? I believe if you will reject the pull toward the drama of the broken world, and instead you will embrace the wisdom that comes from the kingdom of God instead, I believe that the people that are broken around you, that are lost and that are dying without Jesus, the people that you want to see to know Jesus, I believe that when they see you live with wisdom, their jaws will drop, their eyes will fix on you, and they will say, how did you do that? I believe when we live with wisdom, the world will see God in us. They will hold us with respect, and they'll hold God in awe. I want to encourage you, live, lead, speak, act, and think with wisdom that comes from the kingdom of God. Spend some time today. Ask God, pray to God, ask Him to give you the wisdom that comes from His kingdom, from His heart. And then live with that. Reject drama, live with wisdom. Let the world see God in you. Until I see you again, you are sent.